It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
I am Des Clark and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. Now joining me this week is comedian Susie McCabe, and with her is stand-up Roscoe McClelland, and facing off against them is comic Scott Agnew, and joining him is stand-up Rachel Fairburn. In the news this week, a Florida school swim team practice was delayed when the students discovered an alligator in the pool. On the plus side, before leaving the pool, every student managed a personal best. A 13-year-old girl broke a Guinness World Record by assembling a Mr. Potato Head toy in 5.69 seconds. A record currently being disputed by a 10-year-old boy in Taiwan who makes them for a living. And squatters have occupied a mansion in Belgravia belonging to Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska. The billionaire has told the Met that he is not planning on pressing charges as long as the anarchists remember to put the bins out on Wednesdays. Right, you've met the panel. Let's crack on with round one. And this is the Broken News round, where our teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Susie and Roscoe, can you tell me what the first story in our mashup is?
Nicola Sturgeon has announced that the laws on wearing
pet collars
in Scotland will not be lifted next week as had been planned.
The Office for National Statistics uses the cost of these everyday items to calculate the rate of
COVID cases. The First Minister said people will be required to continue wearing
bacterial wipes
in shops until at least early April.
Susie, what do you think? What do you reckon to our first story, please?
This is our restrictions are still going to stay in place. Although we say restrictions, right, it's a bit of mask wearing.
Yeah.
Right, so I think in the grand scheme of what we've all lived through, it's not that bad.
Yeah, well observed, Susie. That's the right answer. That is the news that Scotland's rules on face coverings in shops and in public transport will remain in place until April due to a rise in cases of COVID-19. All other restrictions on businesses and services are to move from legal requirement to guidance from the 21st of March. So there will be no change in COVID testing in Scotland until after Easter. The Scottish Government says they're waiting to see if the country gives up coronavirus for Lent. Some sound, prudent policy right there.
I always think, see, when it comes to this, and I go, England have got this, and Scotland are having to do this, and this is ridiculous. And I go, look, Boris is your drunk dad. Right? Boris is in the house, absolutely steaming after a day at the bowling club, going, see you next year, we're all going to Florida. Meanwhile, Nicola Sturgeon's your mum in the kitchen going, we're not even going to a caravan next year. do you know what I mean?
Roscoe, what do you make about the Scottish Government's approach? Do you agree with their way forward in this?
100%. I hope we keep the masks on just a wee bit longer until everyone sorts himself out. And I include myself in this, right? Because when you go abroad and then you're going back to the airport, you can tell where the flight to Scotland is just by looking at people, man. We are a nation of goblin folk, man.
So here we go, Scott. Obviously, it's an ever-changing picture. 2 years after our very first lockdown, there's now been a new directive from the Scottish Government. What do you think about it?
I have had, in the past 6 months, I have had a alcohol, cigarette-related, square sausage adjacent COVID-induced heart attack and was dead 3 times right now. So I'm not even joking. Dead, right? Do you know how I got COVID? Because remember that thing everybody was going on about? Oh, does COVID know what time the pub shut? Oh, is that it? It goes up the road at 10 o'clock, right? I'll tell you when I get COVID, the first day the pubs didn't shut at 10 o'clock, right? It was a lovely Sunday afternoon. We'd all been out drinking through the day, and my local was open till 3 in the morning. And I went away round to my local gay bar, and 50 gay men that have not seen one another for 2 years. Oh, how you doing, hen? Hugs, hugs, hugs. I had a heart attack. Another pal ended up in a coma. Another one ended up intubated for 2 days. So do you know what? Just wear your bloody mask. Anyway, right.
But What do you think about this then, Rachel? Will you change your behaviour when it comes to COVID?
Well, what I'm going to have to do is come up with better excuses to not do things I don't want to. Because the perfect excuse has been one word, hasn't it? COVID. You don't even have to elaborate on that, like, can't go, COVID. Like, they don't know if you've got it, or you might have it, or you're just worried about it. It's been perfect, as far as I'm concerned. I keep having to come up with excuses. I've got out so many things just by saying COVID, like 2 hen do's. Yes, please. COVID. No questions asked. Just didn't go, right? I got out of a 40th, thank God, right? A wedding, my own. And do you know what? It was easier to say COVID rather than someone else. So...
Now, the First Minister has made a lot of announcements in the past few years about how life will change in Scotland. But here's my question to you. What would you like the First Minister to announce to the whole of Scotland?
To just start wearing jeans to the airport, man. I'm sick of it. I'm going on I don't want to see the outline of all your stuff that you've got, you know. But I want to be comfy, 3,000 feet in the air. No, just, you know, I want to be comfy. I don't want to see you cutting about looking like that, man.
Continued COVID restrictions in Scotland is the correct answer. Susie and Roscoe, you get 2 points for that. Now to you, Scott and Rachel, what was the other story we were after?
This is the review of the things that are in the kind of what they call the inflation basket.
In its annual update, the Office for National Statistics added 19 products to its virtual shopping basket used to calculate inflation. So donuts, dictionaries and suits have been abandoned for the likes of veggie sausages, craft kits and casual jackets. A lot of changes, Rachel. Is this reflective of your shopping basket?
I genuinely, when I read that people buy more dog collars, I thought, it's a bit kinky. Like, that was my first thought. And then it's obviously because people were getting lockdown dogs and that kind of stuff. And a lot of my friends have started to get dogs, but they're the kind of people that are like, hey, we got a rescue dog, you know, because everything's got to be vintage now.
Is this shopping basket reflective of what's in your shopping basket?
So they said in the report that there's been an increase in canned beans, lentils and chickpeas. No.
Obviously, with prices rising, this is a big story. Have you already started looking at ways to save money?
No, because for 2 reasons. I am terrible with money, because I come to do the Fringe here in August, and the average cost of that is 1 soul, I think. But also, I live in London, so I obviously I've never got money. So there's a little rider behind the stage here with sandwiches and crisps. I'm taking a lot of it when I go.
Roscoe, what do you think about this? We're obviously talking about the prices rising. Have you already started looking at ways to save money?
I've developed quite a little trick. It's called shoplifting.
Please do, talk me through it.
Well, they just leave all this stuff out, right? And then see if you can get it in your jacket and get out without getting caught. You just get to keep it. Just call me Roscoe McClelland, money-saving expert. That's me.
Well, on that, obviously, we're all looking for ways to save a bit of money and get a bargain as well. Scott Agnew, what's been your best purchase recently?
It's been a big toe straightener and new walking boots, right?
Sorry? Whoa. What? A big toe straightener?
Out the Betterware catalogue, right? So... So, as part of my recovery after the heart attack, right, with my cardiac rehab group, I've got to go a walk, right? It's once a week, walking round Alexandra Park every Thursday, right? And I am the youngest there by about 25 to 30 years, right? I mean, a wee bit of an instant third week in, and I was trying to keep up with a particularly sprightly 68-year-old. Right. But nobody told me he used to run marathons, right? He still runs marathons, right? And we're going up this big hill. I'm trying to talk to him, and he's blithering away, and then like, the sort of white light comes in, and I'm like, just get to that bollard. You'll be all right if you get to the bollard. And I get to the bollard at the top of the hill, and I take a kind of wee funny turn, and then I just faint. Now, I'm 24 stone at this point, right? And now there's just 15 pensioners who are only about 6 weeks out of cardiac surgery themselves, right? All shouting and screaming, oh my goodness, what's happened to the big man? And I start to shake, and there's 2 cardiac rehab nurses, right? And I kind of flop over and start to roll back down the hill, right? And now it's like the season finale of Last of the Summer Wine. All these old dears running down, trying to pull me back up, and the nurse is going, don't touch him, I don't need 15 of these deeds, right? Anyway, in the process of that, I managed to tear the ligament off the top of my foot, and it turns out it was my big toe wasn't the right way for the walking boots. So I bought a softer leather and a big toe straightener, and that's me on the road to recovery now. Wow.
Yeah, well done, Scott and Rachel. You get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of COVID rules in Scotland and the UK's new inflation shopping basket. And at the end of that round, the teams are on 2 points apiece. Now, so much of our news is about public opinion, and this week we spoke to actress, director and star of Scot Squad Sally Reid and the Hebridean baker Cynioch MacLeod. So, Scott and Rachel, what do you think Sally is on about here?
I think this could potentially be a slippery slope. What's next? From picking your pants in the morning to what you eat, having something that decides what your personality is that day.
People using apps to make their lives easier.
It is the right answer. Well done, Rachel. Yes, it is the news that more people are using mobile phone apps, not only for entertainment and access to social media, but to help organise their day-to-day lives. Apps such as Google Calendar, Trello and Merge are being used to help people with task management and scheduling family life. There's even an app that can tell you a song name by simply hearing its melody, called Shazam, or as Ed Sheeran calls it, my new album. Roscoe, what about you? You've had a look at these apps. Would any of these apps help you?
It's not going to help me. I found out during lockdown that I have had undiagnosed ADHD. Now, everyone I've said that to has went, yeah. And I was like, well, I didn't know. I think the true sadness of, I guess, having it is that I could never quite concentrate enough to spot the signs. I was like, right, well, what do I do? I don't want to go and bother a doctor. There's a pandemic on. They went, well, you can do them online. And I went, all right. So I got up YouTube and I typed in ADHD, and there was loads of them, like loads of tests, but they were all about 10 minutes long. I was like, oh, I'm not doing that, man.
We're maybe not entirely in favour of these apps, but do you have any apps that you live your life by? Rachel?
I use an ovulation app because I'm trying to never have children and end up in this miserable existence of apps and not speaking to the person that's impregnated me. So, yeah.
Scott, what about you? Are there any apps that you live your life by?
I used to be a sort of regular on a dating app. Now, I happen to live in the city centre, right in the Salt Market, and it was a particularly cold winter's evening, and I was on a dating app, and this fella says, is it all right? Can I come up to yours? And aye, all right. And he comes up the stairs, and there's another fella behind him. He went, I'm just his pal, I'm hanging about. Right. I'm like, what? Right. And nothing's happening, and I'm getting suspicious, and I'm going, well, they're definitely going to rob the place, because I furnished this place with the British Heart Foundation, so there's nothing they can steal here, right? And then I heard a toot outside, and went, that was cracking, pal. We were just needing an address for a taxi, and it was freezing outside. Cheers.
Susie, any apps you live your life by?
No, there's no apps. My mum and dad have got this app, though. It's amazing. It phones me every time they forget a password. Their shopping lists or their names. And I've got an app that blocks those calls.
Yes, the apps that keep us on track is the correct answer. 2 points goes to Scott and Rachel. So, Susie and Roscoe, what do you think Cunyock MacLeod is talking about here?
With all his money and all the things he could be doing, this is the way he decided to spend his afternoon. High-vis jacket on, spade over the shoulder. Do you think I'm sexy?
Des, I think that's Rod Stewart, who was filling potholes outside of his property in Essex.
Rod Stewart was filmed doing his own form of public service by filling in potholes near his Essex estate. The singer posted videos of himself on Instagram shoveling gravel near his home in Harlow, saying, "I'm repairing the street near where I live because no one can be bothered to do it." Essex County Council have said the holes will be temporarily filled in April and the road resurfaced in July. So what do you think then, Roscoe? Rod's out and about, sorting it for himself because the council won't do it. Do you agree with Rod's tactics?
I just hate everything that guy does, man. Thank you, one man. But it's nothing like personal. I used to work with a guy when I was a plumber, right? I used to work with a guy who drove around, a kind of delivery man for the company, and he had one tape in his van, and it was Rod Stewart's greatest hits, and I hated that tape, man, right? And then I see him out there wearing a high-vis vest that's clean as a whistle, never seen a day's work in its life, man. Trying to pretend he knows what it's like. I guess that's just the way the whole country is now, you know? We just seem to go, oh, there's a problem. Let's send an old man with no experience out to do the government's job.
Roscoe's right. He was as clean as a whistle. There was no mud on him at all. And
You're not buying it?
No, do you know what else amazes me? Rod still looks like a woman from Glasgow that would go to the bingo and hit you with a dabber.
Well, obviously, Rod's taking the action into his own hands. Should you just wait for the council to fix the problem because you're paying for it?
I definitely would. I found out quite recently that over the last few years, I've been paying more council tax than anyone. When me and my wife lived together in a flat before we moved, every month she would pay the council tax and I would pay other things, right? So every month I would give her money towards it. And then only since we moved into the house and the roles switched and I started paying the council tax, that's when I realised that you actually get 2 months where you don't have to pay it.
You? Rachel, Rod has taken on this big job here of fixing the potholes. What is the biggest job that you've ever tackled?
Right, this happens to me quite often, and I don't know how or why. I think it's because I've got middle-class friends, and because I sound like this, they think that I'm hard. I break up fights. Genuinely. I'm a 4'10" woman, and I've been in situations where people are kicking off and no one's doing anything. I'm like, oh, I'm taking this, am I? Right? And I've had to, like, separate grown men. I'm like, can you please stop? Because obviously, in London, where I live, everyone's a bit posher. Well, anyone stood next to me wearing socks is posh. But honestly, this is it. I keep getting into these situations where I'm like, right, I'll take it. And I end up breaking up fights.
What?
Yeah.
I tell you
happens
what.
all the time.
You should move up here. You'd have loads of work.
Yeah.
There you go, a singing sensation taking action to fix the roads is the correct answer, and 2 points goes to Susie and Roscoe. You're tuned to Breaking the News on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news, so I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. Susie and Roscoe, you're first this time, so who is this?
They are the greatest storytellers I've ever met. They definitely have a swagger. It probably wasn't even the funniest story. It was just the way they were telling it.
Martin Compston.
Yes, Line of Duty star and Greenock boy Martin Compston is in the news this week, marking the 20th anniversary of his first film, the Ken Loach classic Sweet 16. Compston said he owed his career to Sweet 16 and the teacher who put him up for the audition. Martin Compston grew up in Greenock and now lives in Las Vegas, 2 towns where the locals will do anything for a handful of chips. So we've got Martin Compston there. What a career he's had after that start. He's still going strong. Are you surprised to see Martin still on our screens after 20 years, Susie?
This is going to sound terrible. I think he's really good in everything what he does, but he's kind of middle-aged David Tennant, isn't he? Isn't he? No, he is. Like, you're not going to catch Compston doing Shakespeare, are you? But he always seems a pretty decent guy, apart from when he was complaining about people recognising him. Because he was moaning about that recently, about, it's too much. It's too much. And you're like, maybe don't go on the telly then if you don't want recognised.
He's not exactly blessed with verticality. He's not a tall man, so it's been very interesting, like watching it. Once I found that out, I can't help but look at scenes and going, "Oh, that's a creative way they've made him look the same size as everybody else. That's good, isn't it?" Oh, aye, he must have been about 2 meters in front of them when they shot that scene, man.
In an interview, talking about the teacher that suggested him for his first role, he said, "I mean, looking back, it probably meant I was a gobby wee boy who had far too much to say for himself." That's how he ended up getting the part. So here's my question. When has being gobby ever got you anything?
I was gobby once, and it gave me the knowledge that my mum has some reach on her. And I've got a weak chin, and...
I'm not particularly gobby, right? But what I am is I talk a good game, right? And then I brick it at the last minute, right? So see if we were out for dinner together, we'd be sitting and you would, that chicken's cold and the chips are soggy, and do they call that a salad, right? And then the server will go by and says, "How's everything?" "But it's lovely, thank you," right?
And obviously, Martin Compston got that big break at the age of 17. So what were you doing at the age of 17?
I was living in North Manchester in a suburb that at the time was one of the poorest areas in Europe. I was living with my grandparents. I was working at a department store in the city centre. I hadn't been to college and I wasn't thinking about university. Oh my God, I was actually living in a Ken Loach film. That's what I was doing at 17.
Yes, 2 points to Susie and Roscoe. That was, of course, Martin Compston. Right, Scott and Rachel, it's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
I would have probably stayed a singer and a songwriter, even if I'd have had to selling them my CDs out of the back of my car. I would do that still.
That is the absolutely and utterly glorious Dolly Parton, right?
It is Dolly Parton, and it is the news that country music legend Dolly Parton has pulled out of the race to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year after receiving a nomination. The country music star said she did not feel that she had earned the right to be featured on this year's 17-strong shortlist. What do you think of this gesture saying, do you know what, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I've not earned that?
I admire the fact as well that she says, "Oh, I'm going to go and make a rock and roll album," right? What is she, 77?
Yeah.
Says, "I'll make my first rock and roll album." Go on yourself, hen. Right. I'm kind of looking forward to Cliff Richard's punk album, right? It was just, No Sex Before Marriage Pistols. Anyway, right, but...
Actually, we can do an update. Dolly Parton did, to be fair, say she was unable to attend the ceremony because she was too busy hanging out at Rod Stewart's rolling out tarmac. There's a lot to be done there. Susie, what do you make about this? Dolly Parton has come out and said, "Thanks for the nomination, but it's no for me." What do you think of the gesture?
Well, first of all, she has her own theme park.
Yes.
Right, who in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has their own theme park? No one. Imagine going to Lionel Richie's theme park. How boring would that be? Just Lionel Richie music getting put. What you want is a roller coaster with 95 blaring in your ears, and then as you go round for the second one, "Here we go again." Oh, yes.
The tunes?
It would be amazing. No, definitely. She's bigger than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Rachel, there is a phrase that says we should all be more like Dolly. Do you think we should be?
Yeah, oh yeah, I think so. She seems sound. I think she seems all right. And I mean, I'm sure there's someone somewhere writing an article about how she's problematic. You know, she's probably got a wigs aren't vegan or something. But I think that's the worst you'd ever find out about her. I think, yeah, I think she's a good role model.
What do you think about this then, Susie? I know you're a big fan of Dolly Parton. Do you think we should all be a bit more like Dolly?
Oh, aye, 100%. I actually watched, I watched about 4 hours of documentary about Dolly, and I swear, because I'm at an age now where all I do is cry when I watch the television, where I just cried and I was like, we need to go to Dollywood.
Dolly's first acting role was in workplace comedy 9 to 5. It's being remade for the work from home era as 9 to 10, 12 to 2 and 3 to 4:45. Well done, teams. Dolly Parton is the right answer, and 2 points goes to Scott and Rachel. And it's time now for our final quick-fire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. So I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
I really like shortbread.
That's Nicolas Cage there trying to connect with his Scottish heritage. Right, fingers on buzzers, here we go. Aberdeenshire woman waits 16 years for what? Susie.
For Rod Stewart to fix her potholes.
Aberdeenshire woman waits 16 years for what? Rachel.
Bus. It's a slower pace of life, innit? I don't know.
Exactly, then 2 turn up at one time. Aberdeenshire woman waits 16 years for what? Scott.
The beginning of summer.
Still waiting. Aberdeenshire woman waits 16 years for what? Roscoe.
The seagull to leave so she can go outside.
As brilliant as all your answers were, it was something else we were looking for. I will put you out of your misery. Aberdeenshire woman waits 16 years for an allotment.
I really like shortbread.
Oh, there we go. That is the klaxon. Nicholas has caged. It's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Scott Agnew and Rachel Fairbairn. And commiserations to Susie McCabe and Roscoe McClellan. And we'll leave you with the breaking news. Breaking news just in. A New Zealand couple who believed they'd dug up the world's largest potato have had their dreams turned to mash after Guinness wrote to say that DNA testing has found that it wasn't in fact a potato at all. The couple's neighbours said they felt really bad for them, but also could they please have their football back? The TS Queen Mary, a historic steamship which is berthed in Glasgow, is to sail on the River Clyde again. The ship has undergone a multi-million-pound refurbishment and is perhaps the most high-profile steamer to come to Glasgow since George Best played at Hampden. And a Glasgow passerby was shocked to stumble upon leftover stock from an adult store dumped on a pavement near the River Clyde in the city centre. He says he does get funny looks when he's wearing some of the rubber outfits, but they're brilliant for keeping the rain off. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye!